Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss. I am Jes Marcy, I guess the original Clutter Boss, here to answer your questions live today that have been submitted this week or last week. Dry hair situation going on here. If you are new around here, welcome. This is a live stream that we do every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can submit any questions about clutter or home organization or systems to the live stream, and I or another clutter boss answer them live. If you're here with us, say hello. And if you're on replay, just give a hashtag replay. We can say hi to you. If you have questions for next week, the best place to submit them is at support@prioritizeyoursanity.com. And we have a couple of great questions as usual for today. So let's dive right in. Oh, hello, Susan, and hello, Wendy. It's so nice to see you here. Are you having some coffee? Hi, Marie. Okay, so question number one. Pretty straightforward. Does anyone have a good rule for hanging clothes in their closet or clothes in general? I saw somewhere that you should attach a tag with a date on clothes that you aren't sure if you want to get rid of. Give yourself a cutoff date, like 1 year. And if you haven't worn that item by that time, you get rid of it. Not sure if anyone has ever used this, but it might be good. Okay, so my thoughts about clothing have evolved a little bit over time. And what I believe now, after many years of experimenting with many different things, in the beginning of your decluttering, you might have some fear around letting go of something that you might need in the future, right? I might need this, I might wear this, I might have an occasion for this, I might ourselves to keeping everything. Sometimes a two-step process can be helpful. So whether it's putting a date on something and saying 1 year from now, if I haven't worn this, I'll let go of it. Or sometimes people turn their hangers, so you turn all your hangers one way. And when you wear something and put it back in your closet, you turn your hanger the other way. Honestly, I think if you need a two-step process in the beginning, that is fine. But I want to encourage you to be as ruthless as possible with letting go of as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Because here is the deal. Every single thing that we have is stealing our time. We only have a short amount of time here on this earth. So if you are debating keeping something that you're most likely not going to wear, or that if you had an occasion, you could wear something else, you could borrow something from a friend, just let it go. Just let it go. The longer you debate, the longer you hold on, the longer you play games, turning hangers, putting dates on things, the more the more time your clothing is stealing from your life. The goal of decluttering is to get our time back and to reclaim our sanity. It's not even about space. It is about our mental health, and it is about actually legitimately having time in our lives. The quicker you can get from point A to point Z, the better. So my advice at this point, after working with so many people, truly tens of thousands of people, and really going down this road with my own stuff, is if you don't love that item, if you are not wearing it most of the time, feel free to let it go. It's not worth your time. It is not worth your time. I have the smallest wardrobe that I've ever had in my entire life, and I am experiencing a new level of freedom in so many different ways. I have less choice, which is fantastic because choice was stealing my time. I only have clothing that I actively wear. Most of us are wearing about 10% of our clothing 90% of the time. There is literally no chance that you will have no clothing. That is not in the realm of possibilities. Right now you're living in a situation where you have so many choices and so many options, and you're second guessing everything, that it's driving you crazy, and it's stealing your time, and it's not contributing to your happiness. So I think the faster that we can just let go of that which is no longer serving us, the better. If you purchase something with intention of wearing it and you bring it home and it doesn't fit, instead of letting that thing just hang out in your closet and feel guilty about it, or maybe tell yourself that it will fit if you just change body shapes or sizes or whatever in the future, just let it go. It's not relevant to your life right now. It's not helping you achieve your goals right now. You don't need things dragging you down. We have enough external pressures dragging us down every day. We don't need our clothing to be one of those. And I see I'm getting a lot of pushback on this in the comments. Push back all you want. If you love fashion, if you love fashion, then yeah, have more clothing than somebody who doesn't love fashion. But that does not mean hang on to everything. Like, I think our identity can really become a part of our clutter. I love fashion, so it justifies having a tremendous amount of clothing. Okay, but if you have all that clothing, then you don't have space for other things. So your other collections need to shrink. If fashion is bringing you joy and getting dressed every day is something that you really look forward to and you love, by all means, give yourself choices. I would say that 99% of the people that I work with do not fall into that category. Whether you tell yourself you do or what, you don't fall into that category. Is getting dressed causing you stress, or is it bringing you tremendous joy? And if it is causing you stress, then it is time to take action. You can still love fashion and have a highly curated collection of clothing. And that goes for all other collections. You can love crafts, but have a highly curated collection of the best craft supplies that you're using all the time and the things that you love the most. The more that we have, the less we can love everything, right? The more that we have, the more kind of it diminishes our feelings of joy because it becomes overwhelming. So I also see here it depends on your lifestyle, seasons, and sizes of your closet. Yeah, there's a lot of factors. I live in a place that has 4 seasons. I have a lifestyle that goes from needing to be super fancy to professional to very casual to, working outside all the time. I mean, it spans everything. And that doesn't mean that I need to have a million different things for all different possible occasions. It means that I need to be able to quickly go from one thing to the next, know that whatever I grab is going to fit and look good and feel good. Feel good. That's, if you're storing half of your wardrobe in bins in the attic, it's taking your time. It's taking your time. It's taking your space. If you're storing it in the basement and the basement floods, we have a lot of flooding questions today. You end up having to throw away a lot of stuff. So, I mean, again, if you want to keep a lot of clothing, you do you, but we only have a finite amount of storage space in our homes. And as soon as we fill up that storage space to like 75%, it starts to be hard to do laundry, to put clothing away, to find things. So if you're in a situation where you can't even get to your dresser because there's so much clothing on the floor in front of it, you can't walk into your closet because there's stuff everywhere. There's no judgment with the fact that you were there. But please don't fool yourself into thinking that you're saving clothing for an occasion and that you're going to wear all the clothing that you have. It is not true. So I think we have like fantasy self and realistic self, right? Let fantasy self like live in that fantasy world for a couple of minutes, dream of all the occasions where you're going to wear all the clothing, and then let reality self come in and say, okay, that was fun. Let's clean out some of this so that we get our time and our space back. Laundry is not the same if you change clothing every day. So the more clothing that you have, the more clothing can accumulate and the more laundry you have to do. So there is a baseline amount of clothing, yes, that you have to launder. It's what you wear every day. But if you have the ability to wear lots and lots and stuff, then you have the ability for dirty clothing to pile up into mountains and to have a more overwhelming situation with your clothing. If you have less clothing, you're still doing a lot of laundry, but it's a lot easier to put your clothing away. The clothing literally cannot pile up because you just don't have that much. And it's about that mental energy. So, okay. People size you up by your appearance within the first 5 seconds of meeting you. I don't know who this is here, but if you disagree with what I'm saying, feel free to move on. If people are sizing you up by your appearance within the first 5 seconds, maybe those aren't the people that you want to be hanging out with. Maybe find people who listen to you and talk to you and find out who you are. I'm not saying go out looking like a mess. I'm just saying have a wardrobe that is perfectly curated for you, that you love and that you feel good in, because it really is about how you feel. How you feel is more important than anything else. Okay, moving along to our next question. This is a pretty long one, so I'm going to just kind of get to the point of the question. Um, I am dealing with the paralysis of a flooded house and having all of my possessions in my cellar and the first floor boxed up and moved or thrown away. Um, I continue to be in paralysis mode and I don't understand why. I'm leaving my friend's house with the thought of action when I get home. Any thoughts on getting out of paralysis mode? Paralysis is definitely a real thing when it comes to clutter and living in a very overwhelming environment. And when we have clutter, it is a very overwhelming environment. I think that when we're paralyzed by our situation, if there is any action that you can take, any action whatsoever, it can start to shift that energy of paralysis into an energy of action. If you are sitting and staring and you're not sure where to start, give yourself a couple of seconds to feel that way, but then just pick one item and start there. It's really, there's like we say, touch and tackle. Just touch something, make a decision, and move forward. That action is the antithesis of paralysis. If you feel like you're struggling to take action and you're really truly paralyzed by your space, call a friend and say, listen, talk me through the next 5 minutes. I need to do something and I don't know where to start. Can you just give me a starting point? Because the starting point doesn't matter. It just matters that you start, right? So just figure out a place to start. Figure out, somebody on the phone to help you. Post into our groups and say, I'm paralyzed by this flooded house. I'm so overwhelmed. Help me get started. And you will have hundreds of comments just encouraging you to get started. And that can be the thing that you need. And if you need to do that 10 times a day, do it 10 times a day. Take action, give yourself a lot of time to breathe. And I think it's helpful to have support when you're going through this process, when you're going through a really intensive process of dealing with a flood and having to go through a lot of stuff at once. It's a great time if you have a therapist to schedule a therapy appointment. It's a great time to schedule some self-care. Make sure that you get yourself out of the environment frequently. So just go for a quick walk, do a little bit, go for a quick walk, do a little bit, go grab a coffee. That will help also, just kind of change of scenery, come back, start again. Okay. Next question. I'm new here. I need support because I deal with depression, PTSD, and ADHD. My house is out of control, and I'm having a hard time motivating myself to get done on my one day off. I am exhausted. So, yeah, that sounds very exhausting for sure. I would say if you have one day off, I would not make that the only day that you are working on your clutter. The reality of the situation is it took us years and years and years to accumulate clutter. It's going to take a long time to declutter, and that's okay. There's a couple of things that you can do, even on your days off, that can help. Number one, stop buying more stuff or bringing stuff into your house. When somebody offers you something for free or you see something, just don't bring it into your house. Stop the flow in is going to help so much with dealing with what is already there. So when we work with people who have clutter, we ask them, please take a break from bringing things in, because really, when you have clutter in your house, you're living out of equilibrium. So you're living outside of the space that you have for storage. So if we're constantly bringing stuff in, we're never going to get down to that point of living within our space. Like I know they say like one in, one out. I don't buy that at all. If you have clutter, it's nothing in and stuff out. That is how we start to find that space that we need for all of our stuff. I also feel like when we bring things in, we're bringing in a lot of things, not just one thing. So even if you bring in one item, there's packaging, there's bags, there's a lot that comes with it. So and we like to keep every box and all of that. So number one, stop the flow in. Number two, if you have 5 or 10 minutes every day that you can devote to working on your house, do that every single day. Even if you're working every day, if you can just find 10 minutes to tackle one tiny pile, that's going to get you through your house without having to do it all on your day off. Having this task to do on your day off is very demoralizing. So maybe do a little bit more on your day off, but also find time to rest, because if you don't rest, it's impossible to move forward. So try and do little chunks more routinely instead of a giant amount on the only day that you have for rest and relaxation, and see if that helps you. Okay. There's a couple of questions in here. Uh, um, Okay, I apologize if this was asked before. How can I talk myself out of the anxiety I get when I think about the things I want to or did give away and the what ifs? Like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What if I need it? I know it's silly, but it's not silly at all. So the what ifs definitely keep us trapped where we are. I think when we're saying, what if this happens or what if that happens, we're making decisions that are rooted in fear. I'm afraid that I made the wrong decision. I'm afraid that something negative is going to happen. I'm afraid that I let go of something that I might need. That's rooted in fear. Can you shift to making decisions that are rooted in faith, and not necessarily faith in a religious way, but faith that the decisions that you're making are the right decisions for you right now? If you can shift from a fear-based decision to a faith-based decision and have confidence that you are doing the best that you can, and you are doing the best that you can right now, and let go of outcomes that you cannot control. Anytime something leaves our house, we can't control what happens. If we bring it to a donation center, if we give it to somebody who wants it, if we put it into the recycling and hope that it can be recycled, we can't control what happens when things leave our homes. And that's okay. We only have so much capacity for controlling our environment as it is. Focus on what makes a real difference to you right now and let the rest go. Believe in yourself. This is what decluttering is all about: empowerment. Believe in yourself, have faith in the decisions that you're making, and see if that helps with the overwhelm or the what ifs. If you hear a what if in your head, try and adjust that thinking a little bit. What if it turns out better than I ever imagined? Instead of what if I made the wrong decision, what if this works out so well, right? See if you can shift that thinking a little bit. All right, we're towards the end of our Ask a Clutter Boss session. Thank you for joining me live if you're here live. If you are here on replay, let us know so we can say hello. And if you have a question, please submit it for next week, and we will have a Clutter Boss here to answer it. And you are welcome, Sandra. Have a great day, everyone.